We got to get, I don't know, some optimism, pessimism. Let's see what Jeremy Siegel's got to say this morning. Professor Emeritus of Finance at the University of Pennsylvania's Wharton School of Business, also chief economist at Wisdom Tree. Where do you stand, Professor?
Well, Andrew, you said earlier about, how has the past looked when you invested 23 times earnings of, it's certainly a very good and apt question. I would answer the following. If you take out the AI, the Mag 7, you're really closer to 20 times earnings. And I've written that 20 times earnings in the market today, given interest rates, liquidity, et cetera, is the right ratio. So the question is AI priced too high or not? Now, obviously it's almost a third of the S&P. So I'm not saying if it goes down, you're going to go down on an index. But you have to admit, AI is a revolution unlike anything we've seen in our lifetime. It could bring benefits that we don't even know about at this point. I think the biggest risk on AI investing may not be whether it works or not. I think it's going to be worked, but can it be done much more cheaply? Do we need $1 trillion of data centers? Remember when we went back to the .com boom and bust, what really caused the bust was they figured out how to put 1,000 times more data through the fiber optic cables that they were laying. All of a sudden, the multiplexing and all those companies that said, we're just going to, wire the universe, said, you know what, we don't need that much. Is there a possible, and I'm just putting this out here, a way to get AI without spending the hundreds of billions of dollars on these centers? But AI, no matter what happens, is really going to totally transform our economy.
Professor, how many times have we called Professor Siegel a perma-bull, Andrew? You have lived your entire life with that moniker. And I think you could speak to this, Professor. If the Dow was at 780, that's when I remember, I think I was in Merrill Lynch trading class. And so maybe I don't know, my muscle memory is if it was at 780 and it's now at 47,000, being a perma-bull has been the right thing to do. And I know perma-bears. There's guys that were interviewed by Barron's every week. Yeah. They were perma-bear. Can you speak to that? Perma-bears are always in fashion. They're always in fashion. Perma-bulls, if you're wrong once, you're going to get written up all over. Why does it work that way, where it's so fashionable to be a perma-bear? And I'm not going to mention any names, but they know who they are. Yeah. But they can always get written up. Being a there's one.
Joe, my publisher, when I published Stocks for the Long Run, said, Jeremy, do you know that bearish books, cataclysmic books, doom and gloom books outsell optimistic books by 5 to 1?
Here I am, writing about the crash.
Writing about the past. You're not. That wasn't a predictive.
That's true.
Sorkin, go ahead. Sorry.
I mean, it's just people think if you're an optimist, you're wearing Panglossian glasses, rose-colored. You don't get it. People who are optimistic don't get how bad things really are. I heard you. We're talking about Gundlach. Jeffrey Gundlach being a perma-bear. I think one person you were thinking of early on, Bill Gross. Remember Dow 5000?
Yep. I mentioned that call.
That he wrote.
Worst call in history. Yeah.
Yeah. That, by the way, that was absolutely at the low of the post-financial crisis market that came out. He called for another, 50% decline, and it was straight up from that point there. So, in the long run, listen, we may wobble the year end. I do think there's some, worry about if the Fed is going to go or not. I think they should do 25, but, choppiness is likely to be the order of the day. But, as I say, AI is a revolution that's changing the world, that could bring about economies of scale that far exceed what we saw from the development of the internet. So,
Yep.
yeah, there's, does that deserve a 30 or a 35 PE while the rest of the market is, 19 or 20? But I would say yes.
Yep.
So, yeah, I think it's different this time. Of course, everyone who says it's different this time often regrets it later on. But I think we all agree that we are seeing things with AI that we have not seen in our lifetime.
Well,